Hi and welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jen and I make homemaking videos. I was legitimately supposed to make bread for dinner hours ago. And now I think I best get to it, because if not, it's never going to get done. Doesn't take too long, so I'll take you along with me. Well, might be easier said than done. First, I gotta get rid of the mess. And it was at this moment that she remembered why she did not buy the cheaper trash bags. I bought this from Temu for behind my kitchen sink. Do not like it. It gets wet underneath regardless. Ice ball maker, not a huge fan. If you have little ones, keep them far away from it. The ice balls are the perfect size to choke on. So let's speed this up just a tad.
To make it whatever she put her mind to. Late night hours up the hill, serving coffee to strangers, talking about revenue. She kept dreaming of a world big enough for everyone, but she knew it must rain before it grows. She kept dreaming of the day butterflies survive the wheel. Even though she got knocked down, it never showed. Dear Lily, where'd you go? Where's your heart at? Why'd you fall back? Lately, your afterglow is shining brighter.
So, I changed my mind about what's for dinner. I was going to make pork chops and scalloped potatoes and bread and some kind of a vegetable. Changed my mind. I'm going to make hamburgers, but don't have any buns, so still going to make the bread so I can make buns. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So, here we go. If I can get you closer. Now I'm going to be popping on and off screen, but you will definitely get the gist of everything. When I make bread, I always use my KitchenAid. I do not have the patience or the want to touch sticky bread dough. If I have to touch sticky bread dough, I completely freak out. I can't stand it. And because I like to make bread, years ago my husband bought me a KitchenAid mixer and I've never gone back. So if you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, you would have to knead the bread for approximately 10, maybe 15 minutes. I honestly haven't done it so long. I don't remember how long I needed it for, because mostly I did it by feel and how it was supposed to turn out. Now, when I make this hamburger, When I make the hamburger rolls, I'm not going to use a ton of flour because I don't want them to turn out very heavy. The more flour you use, the heavier your bread is going to be. And with it being humid the way it's been, your flour is probably holding moisture unless you live in a dry climate. So here we go. Grab my measuring cup and your water, your hot water, warm water, whatever you want to call it. I use hot tap water, and there's a reason why. When I make my bread, I use milk. The original recipe called for powdered non-fat dry milk. I don't use that. I use what I have on hand. I don't keep dry milk on hand anymore. So when I do my water, my tap is right around 120 degrees. Maybe a little hotter, maybe a little colder. But what you should end up with, and I'm going to put in a cup and a half here. What you should end up with is something that you would be able to bathe a baby or a child in. So it's not going to be hot, it's not going to be cold, and it's not going to kill your yeast. So once I add in the milk, we're up to 2 cups. And if you feel that, it's lukewarm. Like you could literally bathe your child in it. Hot water, hot liquids will kill your yeast super fast. Levi, no, come on. I'm going to open up a package of yeast. We finally got to go to Sam's Club. Finally got to grab 2 of these. 2 of these at the club, which should be £1 a piece, and they are a little over $5. You can't beat that when the little jars are $5. And let me go grab myself a dog. Back. He is missing my son, and he cries the entire time he's gone. And he's just down the street. He does not see it that way. We are going to add into this 5 teaspoons of yeast. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. This one can go back up in the cabinet, and the other is going to need to be sealed up. So I'll set that aside. Next we need sugar. Your yeast is going to feed off your sugar. So I add it, of course. It can also sort of feed off your flour too, but you're going to put in 3 tablespoons of sugar. And now you need 3 tablespoons of some sort of fat. Tonight I have this. I've used real butter, I've used margarine, I've used oil. You use what you want to use. I'm using this simply because it's what I have on hand, and it will work. As far as the sugars, you do you. You can add in molasses in like a wheat bread. You could add in honey. And I'm sure there's other sweeteners that I'm just not even thinking of. I've used brown sugar in a pinch. I've used confectionery sugar in a pinch, because all that is whipped up sugar. So there's that. And as far as the flour goes, when you're adding in your flour, it takes approximately 6 cups. You can omit one of those cups and switch it with whole wheat. You can omit 2 cups and switch it with whole wheat. You can omit 3, switch it out with whole wheat. I've added in oatmeal before. You know, whatever you're switching out, just take out that little bit of flour, and it generally will not give you a problem. At least it hasn't me yet. And I've made this one bread recipe with variations of it for many years. And I need to find my salt. So I'm gonna set you guys back a second. And you're gonna need 2 teaspoons of salt. It slows down the rate of the growth of the yeast so that your yeast isn't growing out of control. A lot of people will let this set up, make sure the yeast foams. I generally know whether my yeast is fresh or not. Because I've done it so much and generally know how much yeast I've used. Lucky, stop! Lucky! Come on! Come on, Lucky! I'm going to start laying in my flour. And I'm going to do 4 cups. And I'm going to mix it with my dough hook. Do not use any other hook, any other blade, because it's not going to work for you. Well, it's going to stick all over everything. Now, if you're watching this, it looked at first like it was going to be super dry, but now it's much more sticky now that the flour's worked into it. I am going to add a little more flour so the dough's workable once it rises. But like I said, I'm not going to use the entire amount that it calls for, because for one, it's going to make for very heavy rolls. I am going to scrape the bowl down a little bit, which I always do, just to make sure everything's incorporated and nothing's getting left behind. back this camera up for you. And for me. Now, like I said, the dough is still going to be sticky. For sure. You can see it sticks to my hands. Now, I do have a rhyme and reason for this. Like I said, it's so that my rolls are much lighter in texture. I don't want them overly heavy. Once they rise up, it will not be an issue. It's, you know, bread I tend to make slightly heavier. But rolls for hamburgers I try not to. I have in years past, but I honestly try not to because it becomes a lot. There's more bread than rolls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper towels and I'm going to wet a few of them and I'm just going to lay it over the bowl. Not touching the dough. You don't want it in the dough. By the time it doubles, which takes about half an hour to an hour, it'll still really not be touching anything. It's just to keep anything out of it, dust or whatnot. And that's it for now. So now I'm going to move back on to cleaning off my stove and getting things in order so that when I make supper, things aren't in the way. I stuck my hands in the flour. It's contaminated. You don't put that back in your bag of flour or whatever you keep your flour in. That would be literally disgusting. If you want to do it, you do you. I don't do that. And I suggest nobody does. And let's see if we can get back in view here. These are all the tools that come with the KitchenAid. I'm sure many of you are familiar. Your whisk, your scraper edge, and your regular paddle are needed for bread making. Give my stove a quick spray down. So what do you cook for your family that they like? Bread has always been the favorite in my house, probably because I've made it for so many years, although I've slowed down a lot with it recently, because for one, cooking it takes oven power, which costs money. With the rates going up, it's expensive. Sometimes it's cheaper just to go get a loaf of bread. Although with the prices of food now, I think everything sort of evens out. So take your pick, I guess. I got this neat little spinny thing. That's not the word I'm looking for. Lazy Susan? Yeah. But I got it from Temu, under $2. I am noticing though that my spices need to be wiped down. So I'm going to do that real quick. And check my dough here in a little bit. I happened to notice when I was setting it down that they were getting dusty. So, who has tried this on their steak or burgers or can I get it to even show up? called Kinder's Seasoning, and it's buttery steakhouse. Very good. I douse my steak in it when I'm cooking it. Love it. Makes me want to go get a steak. I've also put it on my hamburgers. I like it that way too. But yeah, I'm gonna get these all cleaned up. Get my counter wipe back down. I also did have to turn my camera off for a little bit because it was overheating on me in here. I'm going to check my dough here in a minute, and if it's not heating up, if it's not getting rising fast enough, because it is kind of cool in here because of the AC, I'm going to heat my oven up very, very slightly and pop it in there so that it can rise a little bit faster for me, since I need it for dinner. Oh, not a problem there. It's been about 15 minutes, and if you notice, it's completely doubled. So it's pretty much ready to go and to be made into rolls. So there's that. And that's what we're going to do now that we're at that step already, which is actually kind of surprising. It was pretty fast considering how cool it is in here, so that yeast must be very, very lively. Like, extremely lively. Generally, I would line my pan with parchment paper, but I'm out. And when I'm out, I just oil the pan or grease the pan or do something with it to keep the rolls from sticking. Using real butter is good, but this works just as well. Going to pull a little bit of this out of here so I can use some on my hands so that I'm not sticking to this dough, because it'll literally drive me insane. So I do not like the dough sticking to my hands at all. It's nasty. See if I can get you situated. First thing we're going to do is knock the dough down, which is very easy. And now I'm going to pull it and take it and shape it into my rolls. I like to tuck the edges underneath so that I end up the nice round hamburger roll. They're not going to be perfect. They're homemade, so they don't need to be perfect. They're getting eaten tonight. As long as they taste good, that's the biggest thing. But these are rising really, really, really well tonight. I think my other yeast was really starting to suffer in this weird heat that we've been having. I try to keep these as even as I can. If you have a food scale, you can always weigh your dough out and get them perfectly even if that's important to you. It's not to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 6 hamburger rolls. When I make these, I don't know if you see what I'm doing. You see the jagged underside of this? I'm pulling the dough from the top around to the bottom. holding it, pinching it again. So that side that's all pinched down is the underside of my roll. So that when I press them down into the roll shape, the tops are pretty smooth. Now, I made 6 rolls, that's all I'm going to need. And I have this left over. So what I'm going to do with this is just make a normal roll of bread. Roll of bread. Loaf of bread. I'm going to let those rolls that I made, whoops, rise up. And what I'm going to do with the rest of this, like I said, is I'm going to make a loaf of bread in a pan. I'm also going to set my oven to 375 to heat up while these are rising because they're not going to need a ton of time. Hello, Momo. Hello, Momo. So, I'm going to grab a bread pan, and it's been under my stove, so I'm going to wash it out. Mo. Hi, buddy. Hi. What are you doing, Mo? I'm going to oil my pan. Look at this cat. Hello, Mo. Hello, Mr. Momo. He loves to talk. He's very, very talkative. I'm going to oil this pan. I think my husband is asleep and he wants treats, and my husband's the guy for that. It ain't me. So I think he missed out on his afternoon snack and he's complaining in the only way he can, and that's to me because I'm the person that's awake. Hi! Hi! Hi, I see you. You gotta get down. So, here's my loaf of bread. Well, it's going to be. Yes, I see you. And I roll the edges under, very much the same like I do with my hamburger rolls, except obviously I'm forming it into a loaf, and it's not going to be a full loaf. It's going to be a smaller loaf. Once it rises, it'll be bigger. And I am going to let this rise really well. Empty pan. Now, let's see. We can do some quick little magic here. Got an egg. I'm going to separate out the yolk of the egg. So that I have the white. Trying to be careful so I don't get the shells too. I normally save the yolk, but I'm not going to this time. Because usually when I have yolks, I have a little more than that. Because I usually make a bunch of bread all at once. My whisk. I'm going to whisk up my yolk just a tiny bit to break it up. And what am I missing here? Hold on just a minute. Yes, Mama hears you. You are the loud little boy today, huh? Don't open those cabinets up. Do you know where Mama's stuff went, huh? Do you know where it went? No? Okay. Well, I don't seem to have my not my whisk, my brushes, but I'm just gonna put some of this egg yolk over my bread. I don't want a ton of it because I don't want it to taste like scrambled eggs. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm actually going to add to this loaf of bread some seasoning. And if you shop at Walmart, you'll know exactly what kind of bread I'm making. If you buy their bread. Everything bagel seasoning, which I'm not making bagels, but they make a bread at Walmart, their bakery bread, that has this on it, and it is really actually quite good. If I'm not making my own bread, I really prefer to have theirs with the everything bagel seasoning on it. And if you look, the egg helps everything adhere to the bread. And there is some going in the bottom of the pan, which is not a big deal. Now I'm going to let that sit, and I did not turn my oven on. So I'm going to let these double up and clean up my mess. And I will get back to you when it's time to stick these in the oven, so that you can see how much they've rose up since I started it. And I'm going to clean up this mess. So we'll be right back in an internet minute. Mr. Mo, what are you doing? Huh? You're a good boy. Yes, you are. Mama baby. Yeah. My buddy, huh? Come here. Come here. Hey. Oh, what a good boy. What a good boy. You a good boy? Yeah. Hmm. A good girl too, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Come here, Mama. Meow. Meow. Mama, meow. Where you going? Oh, you good boy. You love booty scratches, huh, Lulu? Lulu. Lulu. You love those booty scratches, don't you? Yes, you do. You like the booty scratches too, honey, huh? Yeah. Oh, good boy. Oh, good boy. And you're the good little girl. Yes, you are. Mama love you so much. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You laughing? Are you laughing? Are you laughing? Huh? So, does anybody notice anything in this video that's very, very, very different? The floor is done. Now, how long that took to even begin to start it is ridiculous, but once we got moving, my son put 4 tiles down and we just took off from there. And it took a good 4 days to get everything down between everything else we were doing, but it is so much better. I cannot tell you how good it feels to come out here and to see the floor together and looking normal without the chipped up, pulled up pieces and stains and everything else. I mean, I don't think it's going to hold up forever and ever, but I really do think that they were a good investment, and I think that they should at least last a few years. They were actually just the peel and sticks from Family Dollar, and I believe they were like $11.50 a box. And we ended up with, I think that there were maybe 8 boxes, maybe 9. I know that we did go back and get more, and I have extra left over in case something happens to any of the tiles. If they come, you know, if they get chipped up. One problem I am noticing, and it happened with the other tiles too, and even though we tried to sort of prevent it, is there are some nail pops coming through on the floor. We live in a state that the ground sort of fluctuates because of the freezing and refreezing of the ground and thawing, so it's going to be a problem. But I save plenty of extra tiles for anything that happens to them, that they can just be pulled up and replaced as we go, so the floor will last even longer. The biggest problem that I had with the other floor was that some of the tiles were actually in really good condition, but I could not find an exact match to that old pattern. They had either slightly changed the color on them, or they were darker but the same pattern, or the pattern was slightly different. So I ended up with a patchwork quilt looking for, and after a while they started coming up again, so I just sort of left them for a while till we figured out what we were going to do. And we happened to be in Family Dollar one day, and my husband pointed them out, and I said, you know what, let's just get these and we'll put them down. It's going to look way better than what we have. So it's nice and clean looking. It's, you know, they're staying down really well. If I do have a problem with any area popping up, I will probably just, I believe the last thing that we used to keep some of them down was like the contractor's cement that comes in the big tubes. I need to finish going around my edges with caulking and, you know, check to make sure that nothing has moved around. The one thing I did not do, because the washer and dryer are so very heavy, is I have not done under them, and I'm not really concerned about it. You can't tell by looking at them that they have not been retiled. The stove and the refrigerator and everything else we did do under it. Me and Trevor did them together. He pulled a lot of them up, and that was the biggest pain. My other son suggested to me that we use heat over them, but I found that with them particular ones that they became really underneath just sticky and just disgusting, and I honestly just didn't want to deal with that. It just, the adhesive became really weird, runny and disgusting. So we just used a putty knife and we worked to pull them up. There were only a few really bad spots. A lot of them just came right up, which was a little concerning. But these seem to be stuck fairly tight. I do see a couple of small little areas that maybe can use just a dot of glue to kind of seal them down. The one thing I'm wondering is if, before the floor gets too much more wear, if I should go over it with anything to kind of seal the tiles down. But I think where I have extra, in case anything happens, that I may just leave them as they are and, you know, go from there. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to cleaning the kitchen now that Mo seems to have stopped talking to me, and he's just sitting here glaring at me for whatever reason. I'm gonna get back to cleaning, and then once the bread has risen enough and the rolls, I'll come back and we'll stick them in the oven. And we're back, and I'm cutting off my own head. Here are the rolls, and they have indeed doubled in size. The bread I'm still waiting on. I want it to reach a little higher of an amount. You can see it's just about doubled, but I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. The bread is going to cook for about 15-20 minutes, and that should be more than enough time. I'm going to throw in some seasoned fries, some hamburgers, and I think maybe some corn on the cob to make for supper. And yeah, so trying to keep these in a single layer. I over poured. So stick them on the bottom rack. Yes, I know I could just shape hamburgers myself, but I choose not to this time. These are not the greatest quality hamburgers in the world, but they're not terrible either. I'm working on it. Don't do what I do. In just a minute, yes, please. Why? Because you need to. Stick these back in my freezer. Corn on the cob, which is conveniently already peeled and frozen. Although I will say I'm not super happy with it. It seems to get overcooked really quick. These burgers, I think I will actually... Where did it go? Oh, here. Going to use my stuff that I told you about. The Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse. Like I said, it goes good on anything, including chicken. Huh? About 15 minutes. 15 minutes! Give or take. The husband's up and he's hungry. What? Huh. That's pretty good. Haven't you watched that before on there? So, everything's in. I'm still going to wait on my bread for a little bit to let that rise up a little bit more. Let it get more airy, fluffy. And when everything is ready to be pulled out, I'll be back. Not quite done yet. And the rolls are done. Golden brown, and they sound hollow. If they don't sound hollow, they're definitely not done. Gonna let those sit, and the bread goes in. Once my bread is done, I'll be able to turn my oven up and get supper done. These I'm going to cover so they can steam and stay soft. I thought it was kind of funny the other day. Before I cover these up, I went to Dollar General down the street and bought paper towels. They are snowman themed with snowflakes. That's not so odd considering we live in northern Maine, even if it is August. Okay guys, I'll be right back when the bread's done. I'll turn up my oven and I'll get this dinner going.
What's under there? What's under there?
Underwear.
The thing.
The rolls.
Rolls?
Mm-hmm.
For what? That's lucky.
What I need is rolls for the hamburgers.
I want to see. Them things look nice.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have one?
Do you want some bread?
Well, yeah, and a roll.
Well, the rolls are for the hamburgers.
So they look so delicious. They look so soft and fluffy. Did I just say fluffer?
Mhm.
The bread looks nice.
Oh, it also looks stuck to the pan.
Did you spray it?
Yes. The onions, stuff in it.
Onions?
They all. You like everything bagels, and it has onions in it.
Why is it so strong? I found a new hat for Papa.
Hmm?
I found a new hat for Papa.
Yeah.
Hey, you look like the people that wear them hats in restaurants, them waiters.
Oh.
I'll be
You want some milk?
Never mind, it fell off. Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Here's this.
Oh, where's my roll?
Not right now.
What? Oh, so you tell me I can have another piece of bread?
Hmm? That's a big piece of bread.
Yeah, and
Giga hasn't made bread in a long time.
But you know that banana bread when you made it up here?
Mm-hmm.
When we first moved, that was so good. Like when we first moved in, the pop-up was getting the cat.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
Did I make that or did somebody buy it? Papa bought that.
Where?
Yeah. It was so good, but somebody made that. It wasn't me.
Oh.
Wow.
But it was so delicious.
Yeah, it was. I think it was from the place that we stopped when we got Mom, and I said they had big whoopie pies. Remember that? I think that's where it was.
What was the name?
Well, I remember he said it was a convenience store. It's normal. It's gonna fall off.
Mmm!
Good?
You haven't made banana bread in a long time though.
Maybe we'll get some bananas and make some banana bread. What do you think of that? Good? Goodness. What's the matter?
Oh, seasoning.
Oh my goodness.
How much seasoning did you put?
Quite a bit. Don't get near that pan, it's hot. Hot.
Were you gonna put it on the roll?
Well, I was, but it's cold, so I figured I wouldn't.
But them rolls look fresh.
Don't get any fresher than that, do they?
Let me mix it.
Is that bread good? What do you say?
Thank you.
No. The other thing that you say when you burp.
Excuse me. Why are you putting them so close to each other?
Oh, it's fine.
They can go out a little bit.
Yeah, they could, but they're fine. Are you gonna have some fries? Yeah. Do you like seasoned fries?
What? I can still eat them.
Did you eat all the homemade fries that I made you?
Yeah.
Were they good?
Yeah. They tasted like potatoes.
Huh.
They tasted like cut potatoes.
They did.
And they were weirdly shaped.
Watch out, Lulu.
Pookie. Pookie, Lookie. My Pookie rat. Can I have another piece of bread after I eat this one?
Go eat what you have.
When can I have a roll?
Later on. Bella, no. Get out of there.
Why?
Because you have a whole big piece.
I want more bread.
I know, but you have a whole big piece. Eat that. Don't waste it.
Save a roll for me.
I will.
You sure about that?
I'm positive.
You're positive.
I'm positive.
Positive.
Positively positive.
Okay, I trust you.
Okay. It's a good thing you do, huh?
Nobody dare steal my roll. Why does it sound like something off of Everybody Hates Chris? Why does that sound like something
Off the show?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Better not eat that roll.
Sounds like the mother when she told Chris not to eat the big piece of chicken.
Yeah, I was watching that episode that Mackenzie does. That got done so quickly. That got done so quickly.
Yep.
Why is it dripping?
I don't know.
Bubble stack.
Yeah, Papa can't have too much bread. Greg? 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 What? Getting your food out. Watch out, Lulu. What?
They have to do Super Mario movie on
Paramount?
no, Peacock.
A peacock?
Uh-huh.
You gonna watch it? All done. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope you'll catch me in the next one. And if you'd like to help my channel out, please like this video, comment, and if you like, subscribe. We'd love to have you join the family.